Did y'all see my ass? Oh my god.
Yeah.
All his ears up. See all this pad he's got too. Still fucking ripping them.
So it was down at a buddy of mine, actually the guy who built all the chassis stuff in my race car, called Silver Dollar. And he did a lot of work on this car. It was down there and they were like running last minute, you know, that's how we roll. He's a really good buddy of mine, and the guy that owns the car is a really good buddy. They built headers for it. He's like, I want to bring it to the shop so you can wire it. I'm like, well, we kind of need to like wire it now. So the last 3 weeks, we've been down there until midnight every night during the week, getting it wired, and did a 100-hour wiring job in about 50. It turned out nice still, but there's some stuff that I would have did a little different if I wasn't in a rush for trying to make Yellow Bullet this weekend. So,
what's the engine setup and stuff?
it's actually a stock block still, a 6.0 truck block. It's not an LSX.
I was gonna say, I can see kind of the ironness to
Yeah,
it.
so it's this iron block, 400 cubic inch. Obviously good internals.
Yeah.
Frankenstein F-Series heads on it. I don't really want to go too into detail about it because we built this specifically for World Cup Super Street. There's a lot of tight rules that class had, I mean, World Cup in general has. We did everything we could to not break the rules, obviously. We built it, you know, it's all legal, everything. And this is, I think, the baddest setup you can build for that class. I mean, that's what Jason wants down there, is a car specifically built for the class. If you don't specifically build something for that class, or the classes, I should say, minus the crossover rules. So like Ultra cars, I think they run Wild Street, I think, and that's all crossover rules. But like Super Street, True Street, Warriors, I mean, they're all built, I mean, there's all rules specifically for World Cup. It's a tight field too, so you gotta be, this car's gonna weigh 3,400 pounds, so it's a tank. We did a lot of changes over the winter though. Last year, we went low weights with different headers, different throttle body. We moved some weight around in it. The fuel cells up front now, different fuel system. Same pulley combo. I'm curious to see what it's going to make with a different throttle body and different headers on it. That's the only thing we changed. Last time I made like right at 1100, but I tend not to turn stuff up on the dyno. It was like shy like 4 degrees of timing. I think on that pass I went 830 on that tune-up, but so if I had to guess before, probably made like 1150, you know, with all of it in it. But Greg thinks that it's going to make a lot, so we're actually going to test it tonight, tear the blower off, send it to him. He's got a new port program for this blower that I think only like a handful of people have, and he really wants to see what it does with a max effort 2650. I mean, this is extreme. It's a 170 millimeter throttle body, big headers, big collectors. It's going to be probably a 70 horsepower gain to 100 horsepower gain, he thinks, just from porting it. Same pulley combo. But we don't really know. No one really has this, you know, that we know of. It should spend about 9,000, 9,500. So if it keeps pulling there, then we're gonna pull it harder.
So why are we putting it on blocks?
Well, there's a couple of different reasons. The main reason is something that's snappy with this much torque will try to move the dyno forward. And this pretty much sets the suspension up, so on a radial car it'll separate, and you'll see in the video that it'll separate up and not try to go forward with the blocks. And then, you know, I mean, everything's back together. We just rewired everything. So another thing is, if we need to get underneath of it for some reason, we'll just slide right underneath of it, you know, check it out. Brand new header, so make sure nothing's burning, all that good stuff. So a couple good reasons behind it. This is what's really nice about a hub dyno. You know, you can actually dyno a car off the trans brake on this thing. You know, I haven't decided if we're gonna do that yet, but they all want me to. But I'm usually pretty conservative with stuff on the dyno. We can do. What do you guys think for numbers?
1320.
Oh, 1320. I might not crank it up all that. Just depends. We're gonna look at plugs and go from there. I usually don't crank.
It'd definitely be over 12.
I don't know. I think it's probably gonna make right around 1300. Well, 1290 to low 1300s, realistically. It's through a turbo 400 too, and that's like, I mean, if you want your feelings hurt, you can take a 10L90 out, put a turbo 400 in, and it will probably lose 150 wheel. So 400s are definitely, they are not dyno happy, to say the least. But this is a bad bitch, so we'll see what if it makes 1300 through a 400, it's gonna go pretty fast.
1375.
I don't understand your language. I don't know where you get.
Not many people do it.
Another thing we're gonna do is put the American Racing. There's a tension, or not a tension, but there's an arm that goes on the back side of this and comes around and comes right here. It's made for a CTSV drive. This is the Copo drive, and it's a little different. We're gonna see if it works. We're about to put it on. It might not work with the pulley going up, but we're gonna see if it even fits. But shout out to Frank at American Racing for that, because he didn't have any of them with no pulleys or anything, and he made something happen. He got Saturday delivery for us. So we got the American Racing tensioner on. It looks like it's gonna work really well. Last year we had a big problem with belt split. Only 11 pounds going below 8, so. We'll pull a plug.
Stuff's falling from the ceilings. So how's everything looking so far?
Actually, pretty good. The first run I didn't have any timing in it. I put 2 degrees in and it picked up. Went from 975 to 1145, so I pulled it pretty hard on that. I was almost 9,000 RPM. Yeah, it's impressive.
What boost is that to? Because I know we didn't hook up.
16.
Okay.
Before we made 11, so we're making headway.
Yeah.
That was only a throttle body change, and the American Racing tensioner, so I don't see any belt slip right now.
Good.
So it pulls all the way through too, which I'm happy with.
It's only a 3 gallon set. About 1 gallon. 50 gallon gun.
See a plug yet?
Needs 2 shockers.
a real tune-up right there. So ain't no heat on it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 12:30, so it wants more, looks like.
So what's the plan?
Take the blower up, send it to Greg. He's never tried it with this throttle body. He's only ever tried it with like a 109, so
Okay.
no one really knows anything. They might not pick up anything.
Worth a shot.
It's only making 16 and a half pounds. So it's pretty good for 16 and a half pounds. I don't really want to lean on it on the dyno either.
We had this on the dyno the other day. We sent up the blower to Kong. You got it back to the shop.
Same day.
Put it back on the dyno.
Well, actually, not same day. You brought it to him at like 11 o'clock at night. He got it back to me by like 2, which is like really good. And we put it back together, and we went from 12:30 to, I think it made 13:18 or 13:20. Oh, it made 13:18 because you said 13:20. I was sitting in the car still, and I'm like, fucking Steve was right. I was wrong on my guess, but anyways, it made really good power. Picked up 2 pounds of boost and 90 wheel. It's like 45-ish per pound of boost it's picking up, which is really efficient. So we're here today. We made 4 runs already, and nothing's really been successful besides the first one. We had power taken out of it, and just to get him A to B, he has to shift it himself for World Cup. So we took the CO2 shifter out of it, and it left real soft. Like, I think it went 120, 160 foot, which is really soft for this. This has been 112 before. So, but it went the personal best. It went 510 at 139, which is the best it's ever been. It picked up like 3 miles per hour, and then I had no timing in it. So our last lick, it had some problems on the trans brake. You let off, and it fell on its face and come back, and it went 530 at 141. But it only had a 150, 60 foot. So part of racing, and that's why we're here. We're not here to win this. We're just here to test out for World Cup. You know, it's September right now, but we got to get it together and, you know, get all of our stuff together for World Cup. So that's why we built this thing. We're 500 pounds overweight, so we can be 2750 right now. We're 3400, so yeah, whatever that is. We got to be 34 for World Cup. Honestly, if we sit at like a 5.0 territory to 490 territory, I mean, that's like really impressive for this. So World Cup will be really competitive at 490. Like probably top 5. So this is going to be run number 5 here shortly. Hopefully all the ducks are straightened out and we'll get a good look. My goal is to, on this run, probably go, if it all pans out, go 5.0, high 490. So should go probably 142, 143, which is in a quarter mile. High 7s, low 8s is where we want to be with this car at 3400. If we go high 7s consistently off the trans brake every single time, it will go rounds and it might win going that fast. So I know that class is usually a bottom 8 class. Some of them Hondas are going to the 770s, but they're not really consistent. So we just cut open the filter, oil filter, and saw a lot of metal in it. Not a lot, but a little bit more than I like. It looked like a lot of aluminum. My educated guess could be revving this thing to almost 10,000 RPM with a 4-inch stroke and a stock block. That piston comes out pretty good, and it'll rock on the bottom of the board. It could, you know, be causing you know, some metal will come out of it, you know, shaving off the side of the piston, the skirts. And I don't want to break a skirt, or I don't want to mess it up too much, because this race isn't really important to us. World Cup is what we're really focused on, and we can't get pistons before World Cup. This is a special piston in this car. We have 2 extras, but I don't really want to use them at all unless we absolutely had to at World Cup, or, you know, getting to there. But that we should probably pack up the trailer and pull them around, take a look at it next week, and just go over it. You know, this is making a lot of power with a lot of RPM. That's not really made to do that. It's not an LSX. It's not really anything special. You know, it's got good parts in it, but it's not made to do what it's doing. We're spinning it too, and it's really hard on parts. It's a dry sump motor, but still, it's really, really hard on things, especially with a steel rod in it. So we're gonna play it safe and pack it up.
Fuzz gets this thing bolted up. It's a twin turbo C6E. We're about to dyno. We just heard back from the machine shop about the Camaro. You want to let the people know?
But literally nothing wrong. Found some metal in it. Obviously, you can probably see that, you know, from taking some video. But we had a problem with that motor back in December. Not really a problem with it at all. Just we were taking the heads off to put titanium intake valves in it, and took the lifters out just to check it, and seeing that the cam was wiped. So we just sent it to the machine shop then, and obviously got a new cam for it, new lifters, and that car was a dry sump, and there's a lot of lines that go through. They were clean, but there must have been some, you know, leftover metal from the lifter and the cam, and it got in the filter. We just want to be safe though, because I mean, we just can't, like, time-wise, we can't afford to, we can't get pistons. So, like, that's, like, my biggest worry is, like, pistons for that thing. So, relief off my chest that it's good. So, we'll be back out probably, like, next weekend, something. Let's go testing somewhere, so. Force, so we gotta go, 490. Which is there, it goes 140, 141, so. It's really like bottom 490s. Might go to shakedown. It's hard to get away and go race and have fun when you got all this stuff to do. You gotta make money first. So
That's true.
yeah.
Speaking of which, you guys will see this coming soon, so stay tuned.